Hi, I'm Cindy Winget, the author of several gothic horror mashups, and welcome to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to be doing another round of my TBR game for the month of August. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's where I roll a dice and it tells me which bookcase to look at, and then I go shelf by shelf and pick which book on that shelf I would be interested in reading, because that gives me 6 selections, which is about what I normally read in a month anyways. So let's go ahead and get started. 2. Okay, so we're starting out with this top shelf. So I'm really short, so it's hard to show you these books, but I still haven't read The Weight of Blood, which I know, sinful, I really need to get to it. Of Earthly Delights is fairly new, so that's exciting. This one has a great cover, which I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but we all do, let's be real. Seasick is, oops, it's going fuzzy, sorry. Seasick is summary, so that might be a good one, since it's August. All Kill Creatures is also summary, and it's also new, and therefore exciting. So yeah, I'm leaning more towards like Kill Creatures and Of Earthly Delights, just because they're new, and it's always exciting when they're new. Although Kill Creatures is summary, so maybe I should choose that one because it takes place in summer and by the water. But I think Of Earthly Delights is also a secret garden type deal, so that sounds summary. I think I'm leaning more towards Of Earthly Delights, so I think I'm going to go with that one. Okay, so come down to this one. So over here we have my hardback books that are like shorter than regular hardbacks, and then these are all my witchy books. So a witchy book might be fun because it's getting close to October, so yay! I think this one actually is a witchy book too. I think I've heard that this is also a witchy book. And that one's fairly new as well. So, and isn't this cover just awesome? And look at this creepy eye peering out through the slats. So creepy. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go with that one. I think that would be a fun one. Okay, then down here we have some more witchy books that turns into vampire books. So because I already have a witchy book, I don't really want to have another one. Well, I haven't read a YA vampire book in a long time, so maybe I'll choose one of these 4. I keep grabbing these YA vampire books and then I never read them. I need to continue this series, but the second one takes place on Halloween, so I kind of want to save it for October. So yeah, maybe a fluffy little YA vampire book might be a nice change of pace, but which one? I think one of these 2 grabs my attention the most. We have A Cruel Thirst and A Multitude of Dreams. And both covers are so gorgeous. Which one though? I think I'm going to go with this one only because it's older. You know, I keep choosing the new books. I should probably start choosing some of the old ones too. So maybe go with that. Like The Remaking. I know it's also a witch book, but that's been on my shelves for so long. It's probably one of my oldest books on my shelves that I haven't read yet, by Clay Malloy Chapman. So I need to read that. But I think I'm going to go with this one, A Multitude of Dreams. Okay, so down here, the vampire stuff continues. And then we have some zombie books over here. But it looks like the only zombie book I haven't read is this duology right here. But I don't know if I'm feeling zombies right now. And actually, even though I already have a vampire book, I think I'm going to go with this one, Blood on Her Tongue, because I was really excited when I got it, and I just haven't read it yet. So I'm really excited for that one, so I think I'm going to go with that. And then down here, we have some random books and some Stephen King. I know immediately which ones, actually. I'm going to do a Nat Cassidy because I really liked Nestlings, but I haven't read anything else from him. I kind of want to do When the Wolf Comes Home because it's new and buzzy and everybody's talking about it. But honestly, the premise for Mary is more intriguing to me personally. Oh, which one? I think I'm going to go with When the Wolf Comes Home. Just because I just want to, I don't know, be with everyone else, I guess. Instead of like, oh, it's been a year and I finally read it, everybody. So I guess I'm going to go with that one. And then down here is all my Darcy Coates books, but I've already read all of them. I love Darcy Coates. She's one of my favorite authors, and I always read her books immediately, so I don't have any to read. I guess I could reread one, but I don't know if I want to. Or I could choose another book from the bookshelf instead. Oh, you know what? I think she's coming out with a new book this month, actually, at the end of the month. I think so. I'll have to look into it for sure, but I'm pretty sure she's coming out with a new book this month, so that might be perfect, actually. So I'll look it up and let you guys know. So I'm pretty excited for this lineup of books. So we have Of Earthly Delights, and this is written by the same author that did the Mary Shelley Club, which I have not read yet, but is definitely on my list of books I want to read. But I just couldn't resist picking this one up because it sounds like a gothic retelling of The Secret Garden. So, yay! I love Secret Garden, I love Gothic, I love that kind of atmosphere. This is a YA novel, and we have our main character who is forced to move from New York City during her senior year, and she's pretty upset about it until she meets this boy, as happens in YA books. But he lives in this opulent mansion with this secret garden in his back estate, and he takes her there, and they spend a summer falling in love and taking care of this garden. But then she starts to discover that there might be something nefarious going on with this garden and that it's not the paradise that she thought it was. So I'm very excited for this one. I think it sounds so much fun. Then Blood on Her Tongue. I believe this is a vampire story. So we have this woman named Lucy, and she is trying to help her sister who just recently got married, or I don't know if it was recent or not, but maybe that doesn't matter. Anyways, a corpse is discovered on her husband's estate, and she weirdly becomes obsessed with this corpse. And the doctor says that she had a fever that kind of led to her insanity. And so, as happens, because this is historical, it takes place in the 1800s. And as always happens in these types of situations, she's declared insane and is sent to an insane asylum. So our main character, Lucy, is trying to prevent her sister from having to go to this asylum and prove that she's in her right mind. But then she starts to wonder, maybe her sister is insane, or maybe something else is going on. So it sounds really good. I like a good vampire story, so I'm excited for this one too. I'm probably going to say that at the end of all these books. I always say that. I'm so excited for this. I'm so excited for this. Yeah, duh. That's why you picked it to read. Anyway, so then I picked Something in the Walls, and this is a witchy story. So we have this child psychologist who wants to help this 13-year-old girl who is convinced that she's being haunted by a witch at her house. And so she's trying to not only make some money, but she wants to help this little girl and be able to get her life back and different things. But then, she starts to wonder, maybe there really is a haunting. So I always love that, is it real? Is it not? I always hope that it's real, but it's fun to discover either way. And then we have A Multitude of Dreams, and just like the other vampire story, Blood on Her Tongue, this one is also a historical vampire story, but this one is a YA novel, and it takes place in medieval times. So we have this princess who is locked up in this castle because there was a great plague on the land, and so all the ones that weren't affected by the plague were shut up in the castle so that they didn't get infected. And I'm pretty sure this plague is vampires, but I guess I'll find out for sure when I read it. But she stumbles across this boy who is out wandering the castle to see if there's any survivors that they missed, and she's trying to break out of the castle, and they think that maybe they can help each other out. So I always like historical horror books, and again, I like vampires, so hopefully this one will work for me. And it was blurbed by Aaron Craig, and I love Aaron Craig, so that was fun to see. And then I chose When the Wolf Comes Home. I don't know if this is a werewolf story or if this is supposed to be more metaphorical, but we have this woman who's an actress, and she stumbles upon this 5-year-old kid who I believe is hiding in the bushes in front of her apartment, and she protects him from his father, who is being violent and abusive, and so they kind of go on the run, and she's trying to protect him from the father. But again, I don't know if it's like a metaphorical wolf just because he's a bad father, or if he's an actual werewolf. So I guess we'll find out. I've been hearing really, really good things about this, so I'm skeptically excited because the premise kind of sounds good, but kind of doesn't seem like I would like it. I don't know. But it's been getting rave reviews, so I'm excited to see how I feel about it. And then the last book I plan to read is the newest by Darcy Coates, which is called How Bad Things Can Get. So this one doesn't come out till August 26th. So this is definitely going to be the last one I read, and hopefully I can read it in just a few days. I usually can with Darcy Coates. I seem to just fly through her books. It usually only takes me like 3 days to read her books, so I'm not worried. So this one sounds a little bit more thrillery than her other books. It doesn't sound like a horror book, but I think it is like horror suspense. But it's about this influencer who books this private island for him and his fans to go party on and have some fun in the sun and all of that. But one of the fans that's there, she apparently grew up in a cult, and that life from her childhood is now catching up with her, and she's got secrets in her past. And apparently that leads to some chaos. So I am looking forward to it. So those are the 6 books I plan to read in the month of August. So if you want to see how I felt about these books, then go ahead and take a look at my August wrap up at the end of the month. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel if you feel so inclined. I post every Friday, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.